From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500 help.
That's right, Taylor Heating and Plumbing. You got drafts? Taylor can help you. They can come, they can redo your insulation, they can make sure that your furnace is working up to snuff, they can make sure that your water heater doesn't die on you and leak all over. I mean, listen, if your water heater is 10 years old, 12 years old, any older than that, you, my friend, are living on borrowed time. So what I want you to do is call Taylor 500 Help. Tailor-made service, customized to all your needs. And of course, Bradford white water heaters. Nothing is worse than having your water heater start leaking all over your basement. If it's old, switch it out. The guys at Taylor would be more than happy to come see you. So check into it. You need your furnace service because, we're not out of, cold season yet. It's February. I know it's 50 degrees in Rochester today, but seriously, have the guys at Taylor come out and service your furnace. Make sure that it's working up to snuff so that you don't have to pay ridiculous bills for, heating your house. They have comprehensive maintenance plans and they have financing. It's important. Don't stress important repairs or replacement. Taylor can help you out. Taylor also is helping you out. If you're looking for a job, Taylor is hiring their current opportunities, HVAC techs, plumbers, project managers, office personnel. It's Taylor Heating and Plumbing for all your air conditioning, heating, plumbing, and home energy needs. Taylor 500 Help. Precision Lawn and Garden, North Avenue in Webster. Precision Lawn and Garden has been serving surrounding areas in Rochester, professional sales, service, and parts since 1969. They know what they're doing. They've been at it a long time. Snow blowers, chainsaws, lawnmowers, Toro, Kawasaki engines, Cub Cadet, Aaron's. Precision Lawn and Garden, that is North Avenue in Webster. Kimberly and Justin are the people that you want to say hello to. And Express Sealers, 645-2010, 645-2010. Brian does so much more than seal driveways in the summer. He also plows driveways and business parking lots. So if you've had a snow guy that was supposed to show up and dig you out and didn't, call Brian on the east side only. Express Sealers, east side only, 645-2010. Please support our advertisers because they do support us here at the We the People Podcast Network, and we want to make sure that they stick with us for the long haul.
Chad's on time today.
Hello. Yay.
Big Wednesday.
Let's go.
Live from the We the People broadcast studio in sunny, balmy, 50-degree Irondequoit, New York.
Woo!
No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no problem. Here they are.
That's right.
It's Kimberly and Chad.
Hey, welcome everyone to Kimberly's Revolution. Glad to have you on board. It is the We the People Podcast Network.com. We have a website and all. We're like legit.
We have a website?
Yeah. We're not just some sketchy, podcast people out there trying to wing it. We actually are idiots. We're semi-idiots, but we have fun doing it.
I'm not a semi-idiot. I'm a full idiot.
We're somebody's idiot.
So I am Kimberly of Kimberly's Revolution and the We the People Podcast Network. Chad Hummel, who is a lawyer. He is also the owner of the Revere Realty Broker. We do sell real estate here. We help people buy real estate. Chad Hummel is the broker extraordinaire. And of course, Just Tom, who is an appraiser and also a real estate agent. Austin is joining. I always do that.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Justin. Whoa, hey, how's it going?
It's only been a year.
Austin. I know.
This
I
is
don't
fine.
know why the names confuse me. It's a brain thing. My brain is mangled.
Who's Justin?
Yeah.
Well, Kimberly and
Who's
Justin at Precision Lawn and Garden, and then I have it in the brain, and then Austin.
Gotcha.
Austin is our producer.
You're
Look at
Kimberly.
him. See, that should be a middle finger to me because like once a month, I'll get his name wrong. But anyway, here we are. It is Wednesday, and I got these late. This is my Valentine's gift. Let's go, Brandon. I love these candy hearts. These candy hearts say it all. The Biden regime is a complete failure. They've succeeded at few things like embarrassing our nation, creating a crisis at the border and inflation. Give these Let's Go Brandon candy hearts to everyone you know. They say Trump. They say Let's Go Brandon instead of kiss me or whatever.
Too late.
They're
I already
fun.
ate mine.
Where did we get these candy hearts? You ate yours?
Oh, yeah, I'm fat.
You fat bastard.
It was a special delivery from the Heart Fairy.
Oh, the Heart Fairy. Would her name be Chris, the Heart Fairy?
You got it.
Okay.
Good guess.
Your mother.
100%.
Let's go, Brandon. Candy hearts. For after Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I dropped the ball on that.
Did you?
Yeah, the package was sitting down in my office for the past 2 weeks.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they might be a little bit stale.
You
by
had them
now.
last week?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. Thanks.
Do you guys
No.
okay, so last night I have to tell you a little story. Well, Monday I just want to tell you what kind of a genius I am, because if I don't brag, God forbid who will. So I actually completed all of the New York Times crossword puzzle Monday and yesterday.
No cheating.
Wait a
I
second.
can't do it after Wednesday. It's too freaking hard.
I was going to say the Monday one
The
is
Monday
like
one is so easy.
Helen Keller did the Monday one.
You know what? Can you just give me
With her
just-
eyes closed.
Just let me have a gimme. Just honestly, just let me with her eyes closed. Okay.
Is that
So,
like the first question?
Monday and
on
Tuesday,
the row of Jeopardy.
I got and then last night, don't I get Final Jeopardy? Because I don't know if you guys know, but every afternoon I fix my mother dinner, and then later we sit while she has her dessert. I sit and
Who broke
watch
her dinner?
Wheel of Fortune. I make her dinner. I make her lunch, but I just give her lunch and then she eats it whenever. But we go up and we have dinner with her every night. I fix her dinner, and then after, when she's having her dessert, she loves to watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy. And last night, I'll be damned if I didn't get Final Jeopardy. It was Ernest Hemingway was the answer. But anyway, and I don't know if anyone knows this, but just a little for all my Kansas City friends who watch Kimberly's Revolution podcast, which
the
is on
quarterback?
YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Ernest Hemingway once wrote for the Kansas City Star, which is the paper in Kansas City. I don't know if it's as much of a rag as a Democrat and
I
Chronicle.
was going to say, is it as shitty as the
I
DNC?
well, let
You
me
read my
just tell
mind.
you, because yesterday you sent me a list. Let's get an update on last week. We had Dave Callis. He is the Webster School parent. Before we go any further, and by the way, the name of today's show is Keep Calm and Carry a Gun. And I'm going to tell you why the name of the show is Keep Calm and Carry a Gun. One, record number of individuals bought a gun in 2021.
Buy more
Record
am-
54 million.
Buy
Right.
more ammo.
Buy more ammo. Keep calm and carry a gun. And the other
buy
big,
more ammo slogan is a trademark of the Chad Hummel podcast.
yes, it is. The other big gun news is that Remington finally settled with the Sandy Hook parents, the 9 parents that actually took the Remington gun maker to court, and they won $73 million. Remington, I think last year, the year before, already filed for bankruptcy, and everything has been settled. So I think the insurance companies that backed up Remington are going to have to pay out that $73 million. I don't think it'll ever bring a kid back. And I certainly don't think that it's going to stop gun violence, but it certainly sets a very, very dangerous precedent here in the United States of America, where we do, by the way, have the Second Amendment. So we'll break that story down, keep calm and carry a gun. But first I want to get, your take, and then I want to tell you why I was talking about the word games and the crossword puzzle, why we're really not free anymore because there's people making our choices for us. But so Dave Callis, the parent who was assaulted at the school board meeting last week, Tuesday night, was without a mask at the school board meeting, slated to talk. You represent Dave Callis.
Correct.
You guys have done, you're like media stars. You've been everywhere. Everywhere I look, there's Chad Hummel.
I'm here.
You are.
I'm here
You're
on Kimberly's
You're
Revolution.
here with me.
He's on his own show.
I
Shocker.
know.
I didn't even do my own show yesterday.
I know, because you were tired.
Yeah, I was
So
tired.
many
I'm done.
interviews.
I'm so done with the camera and the
so
microphone.
so many interviews. I'm just so over the camera.
Tom had to
I'm so
Tom had to pay me extra to
over
make
the
this
camera.
appearance today.
Yeah,
Right.
really.
Yeah, I demanded a raise for
Yeah,
this
gee.
for today's appearance.
Okay.
And you and Kimberly's Revolution broke the story.
Right here
Last
last Wednesday with Dave Callis in
Yeah.
studio.
In the New York Post, front page New York Post last week, that was one of the first major news outlets that had reported this story.
That's right.
Cited Kimberly's Revolution.
They did, and
as
so did
one
the
of
Daily
local
Mail.
Sources.
Yeah. So did the Daily Mail. That's
Good
pretty
stuff.
awesome, right?
Absolutely.
So, since you've been on Hannity, you've been on Fox News, you've been on Newsmax with two different hosts of Newsmax. You've been,
Greg Kelly and Eric Bowling.
and I mean, just a slew of national media, including one local news agency, and that would be Spectrum that covered this.
Wendy Wright.
Did the Democrat and Chronicle or any other local news affiliate, CBS, ABC, NBC, cover the Dave Callis story of being assaulted by a security officer at the Webster Board of Education meeting?
Between Dave and the short answer is not really, right?
Okay.
Between Dave and I, we heard from Spectrum. That was Wendy Wright, who
Right,
granted
who always does a great job.
She did a phenomenal
She
job.
does a great job.
Yep, we granted an interview to her. And I believe my client Dave had received one other voicemail from somebody who claimed to be from one of the local affiliates. And the reason why I
Okay.
say claimed is because Dave and I also received many troll contacts.
Troll contacts.
Vis-a-vis text messaging
Really?
from individuals who claim to be from local news affiliates
Who were not.
who we determined were not, and
Yeah.
they were just looking to to troll us on the story. So, but essentially, nobody in the local news. And as you all know, based on some of the cases that I've been involved in, some of the individuals that I've represented over the past 18 months, including myself,
Right.
in each and every one of these local stories, there were the Hilton parents that were arrested.
That's right.
There was the woman in Macedon who was arrested with the school bus incident.
That's
There
true.
was Shannon Joy's incident.
That's correct.
There was my incident.
Yep.
In each and every one of those particular stories, the local news media covered it, and they covered it as you would normally expect.
Right. Well, this
one they didn't cover at all.
This
and I
was
don't know
gigantic. I
why.
mean, this was, quadruple the problem that any of those other situations were, right? I mean, this guy was yanked out of his chair violently,
yeah.
but twice, violently.
So that can be the only. So in other words, if you try to look at what's different, right? Everything has its common denominators,
Mhm.
and then you try to find the one thing that might be different about that particular situation, my client Dave Callis's situation, and all of those other incidents that I just mentioned.
Yeah.
And you just nailed it. The only thing that's entirely different and emphatically different is the violence that was involved.
Austin, do we have the video still? I don't mean to take you. You probably do somewhere in your, but yeah, I mean, you watch this, watch this.
He had it queued up.
I mean,
They found him.
it goes from 0 to 60 in about a second.
Look at this. Look
Here we
at
go.
this. Look. What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Let's stop there real quick. I want to point something out
Okay.
that was pointed out to me by he probably wouldn't mind if I mentioned his name, but
Okay.
but I won't, only because I didn't get permission. But there's a local doctor who has worked closely with the group of individuals that I've worked with since all of the COVID lockdowns and all that, and he's been a phenomenal source.
Mhm.
And he called me the other day, and he wanted to point out a couple things to me if I hadn't noticed, and I hadn't, but from a purely from a medical standpoint,
Mhm.
and it didn't happen, but he pointed out the manner in which the security guard yanked his chair out, or at least attempted to yank it
Right,
out from underneath him,
Right.
being that the chair's on wheels. And he said, do you realize what could have happened had your client not quickly stood up and gained his balance? If
Yep.
this security officer, as he was attempting to do, had yanked this chair out from underneath him and he had fallen backwards and perhaps hit his head on
Oh.
this concrete floor,
Oh yeah.
he very well could be dead right now.
We could have a Bob Saget.
Exactly.
We could have
What
a,
a,
we could
what a
have
segue.
right. We'll get to that story a little bit later, but yeah, and yeah. So go ahead and play it.
What are you doing? Is this how you
He
do
sits
it?
back
What are you
down.
doing?
I'm just minding my own business.
Calmly keeps his composure.
Holy crap, that's assault. That is assault. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah, and there we go. So, and where I'm going with this is it's interesting that all these national outlets cover this story, right? You sat down with all of these, individual interviewers for all these, Newsweek, the Daily Mail, you talked to, they did written stories, Fox, Hannity, the slew of it, Spectrum, what have you. And our own Democrat and Chronicle newspaper here in Rochester, New York, does not cover the story. And let me show you why they're not covering the story, because they've got, I mean, seriously,
They're busy.
This is hard news, people. This is cutting edge, hard news, hard hitting, getting to the thick of the story, getting into the nitty gritty, finding out what's going on in the city. Let's show you what one Democrat and Chronicle reporter, who's supposed to be on a very important beat, I think he's like on the crime and school beat. Let's see what
Which is exactly
this
what just
guy
happened
is
in that
up
last
to.
video,
Yeah,
right?
school beat. Yeah. This is Justin. Here we go, Justin. Austin. Justin Murphy.
Austin Murphy.
Justin Murphy, who is a reporter, if I could call him that, for the Democrat and Chronicle.
He's a propagandist.
Tree lovers of Rochester, fill out a short Google form describing your favorite tree within our city limits.
Why does it have to be within the city limits? What is he, racist?
That's hard-hitting news right there. Tree equity,
He doesn't
right?
like
Right.
suburban trees?
Apparently does not like suburban trees.
Trees are racist, Chad.
They probably are.
You know, I don't know. You know, Rochester is filled with trees. Pick your favorite tree, because that's the kind of hard-hitting news that our newspaper, the Democrat and Chronicle, likes to tweet about and likes to write about. That's shameful.
I have my favorite tree.
You have a favorite tree?
I don't know if it's within the city limits, so it's close. I'll have to get on like Pictometry because it's within Dranisman Park at the corner of, and you're looking at me like right now, is this guy serious? It's, you know, the corner of Culver and Lakeshore Boulevard. Right
I know
before you
Culver, where Donuts Delight is. That's all.
Oh, way further north.
That is all I
Getting
need to
down
know.
into the Seabreeze area where you make a left and you go along Lakeshore Boulevard.
Yeah.
It's the entrance to Dranisman Park. It would be the northeastern entrance to Dranisman Park. But there's a tree in there. I always taught my kids when we went on our hikes that was the meeting tree. So if anything went seriously wrong,
That's the meeting
right,
tree.
the zombie apocalypse,
Right,
things like that,
right.
I told them, or if I got arrested at maybe a baseball game in the future or something like that,
You were,
this is where
you
we
were on
need
the
to-
run. You're on the lam
Oh, that's going to happen soon.
from the tree police.
Correct. That this is where we would meet. So that would be my favorite tree. That very well could
Why
be
are
in the
you?
city
Why
of
are you?
Rochester.
Why are you even playing into Justin's question on Twitter? Anyway,
Sorry.
that's it. That will tell you what local media is up to.
Time as a question.
We're doing the hard-hitting stories about
Ooh.
your favorite tree in Rochester.
Tom has a
Yes.
hard-hitting question.
Being a golfer, I hate all trees.
You're again. You're very tree
Yes,
racist.
I'm tree racist.
Yeah. So what is
Cut them all down.
Can you tell us the update? I know this is a big thing. I don't know if
Yeah.
you're ready to tell what the big update is on Dave Callis and you representing as counsel.
Yeah, I can give you about 95% of the update at this point. 95% of the update is that the paperwork in order to take the next step towards criminal prosecution, that paperwork has all been signed and presented
Okay.
to the Webster Police Department. So at this point, the ball is in the hands of the Webster Police Department. But by all measures at this point, it looks like criminal charges should be brought very soon.
Oh,
against
wow.
This individual.
Well, I mean, you'll have to tell the story here because certainly no local media outlet is going to cover
Yeah,
it.
the DNC hasn't called me yet to ask for
The
an update.
DNC, I will tell you, Gary Craig, and I've said this a zillion times, is the best thing that the Democrat and Chronicle has to offer in the realm of reporting. And unfortunately, I mean, he's older. He's probably nearing retirement. I mean, they really do give him probably the big and the best stories crime-wise, right? He's a crime reporter, and he does a fantastic job. But nothing else at the DNC has any redeeming quality whatsoever.
No, it
And the
literally-
fact that they ignored this story completely, I mean, whatever angle, cover it from whatever angle you want to. Whether you agree, you disagree, you have whatever, you're in between somewhere, just cover the freaking story.
that's a good point. They could have
Just do
put
anyway, just
they-
cover it.
they could have put one of their, left-leaning,
Let's do it.
progressive,
Yes.
communist, slanted,
Yes, Will Cleveland.
editorial.
If
you
you
know,
get him
yeah,
out of the
there you
bar,
go,
if
Will,
you can get him out of the bar for a second, get Will Cleveland to do the story.
that's what I was thinking of, Will Cleveland.
Yes.
So
I-
yeah,
I
you're
mean,
right. They could have absolutely written any story they wanted. How does the very newspaper? It's actually somewhat. I can't be embarrassed for them, right?
No.
But
well,
if I could be embarrassed for them, they have to be embarrassed for themselves as they're watching
I'm sure.
national news outlets cover this story And if you're going to be called a newspaper,
You have to cover
you have
the
to cover
news.
something that would be the news.
If it's on all the national TV,
International.
shows, international, Daily Mail, and they actually said Kimberly's Revolution
in the UK,
along with the
right?
story. Yeah. And they have a U.S. edition too. But yeah, cover the story. At least do something,
It's
right?
unreal, isn't it?
Someone wants to know, Jennifer said, has the security guy been suspended?
I have not that I'm aware of.
You're not that you're aware
But
of.
I don't have any details on that. The last I had heard, and quite frankly, it's probably the same thing that our followers here can find on social media. But all of the information that's kind of being bantered about on social media is that he's still there. People are reporting that are within the district that he's still there. I did see one comment yesterday from somebody that possibly suggested that maybe he had been moved to a different building.
Oh, really?
And maybe that's to get the customary eyes off him. In other words, the people that would know, yes, he's still here. Yes,
Yeah.
he's still here. Now all of a sudden he's not there. So maybe that gets the narrative out there that he's gone. But
again, the update is that all the paperwork that's needed to proceed with criminal charges. Have you spoken to the prosecuting attorney on the case? The DA, the district attorney?
No, at this point, because the charges, and maybe they're being filed as we speak, but as I sit here right now, until those charges are formally filed at the Justice Court, at the Webster Justice Court, a DA would not be technically assigned to the case yet.
Okay. All right.
So,
I just wondered if you'd
yeah.
had a conversation with the DA.
No, but
If
the
she
DA's
had
office,
reached
Sandra, my understanding from talking to the Webster investigators is that the Sandra Dorley herself was involved in reviewing this matter.
Oh, she was.
Yeah, she was
Okay,
involved
well,
in reviewing this matter.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah,
I mean, I
certainly.
think people are sick and tired of the nonsense, right? People, parents, tax-paying citizens who pay all this money to the schools that their children go to or their grandchildren want to have a say in how their children are treated and how their children are taught at school. That's really all that it boils down to. Like, for example, in San Francisco, overwhelmingly, there was a vote that recalled 3 of the school board members in the San Francisco school district because parents had it up to here. They were tired that these teachers or these board members, instead of doing their job, wanted to change the name of 44 different schools because they believed that the schools had racist names.
Of course.
So there was supposed to be a board meeting to rename 44 schools, and parents were livid that they weren't more focused on keeping the schools open instead of having the hybrid learning that San Francisco has been having for the past 1.5 to 2 years. But that is I mean, people are done. School board members who think they're going to be there forever, parents have had it up to here.
Well,
with the ridiculousness.
isn't the recall like what they tried to do with Governor Newsom? Don't they just put them back up to vote and they vote them back in again anyways?
I don't know that they'll make
think-
it through again,
Why
right?
wouldn't they?
But they wanted to rename some of the schools that honored Abraham Lincoln. One I clearly don't get. George Washington, U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein, public figures that the San Francisco School Board claimed were linked to racism and sexism. The isms. They get you every time.
Maybe they can name one of them after Andrew Cuomo.
Right.
He's got a few of those isms.
Yeah.
But so that's the update. Well, I'm glad that you could update us on that and let us know what's going on. Are you going to be doing your own show later this week? I know it's Wednesday. You've got 2 days.
Ooh,
I don't know.
Pressure. Pressure.
Probably not.
Got Freedom, Chad Hummel and Got Freedom. When can we expect to see that?
Got Freedom is about as defunct as the Democrat and Chronicle because
What?
we don't have any more freedom.
One more
We have to
question
change the name.
before we
You
move on to something else.
Used to have Freedom with Chad Hummel.
Is there a local radio personality? And I use that term
Uh-oh.
loosely.
Here
Is
we
there a
go.
local radio personality that basically said
And now the
that
news.
this whole thing was made up?
Bob Loonsberry.
Is
Did I pronounce his name correctly?
I don't know. Is there
Is it 2
How
O's
many-
or is it 1 O?
How many
Loon?
times has he blocked you, Chad?
is that a suable offense? I mean, can you write a letter to iHeartMedia and I mean, basically what they're doing is saying that you and Dave Callis, your client, premeditated the entire event to get publicity.
Yeah, Mr. Lonsberry certainly implied that when I heard him on the radio the other day. He came right out, did a segment on calling this incident a setup. He incorrectly, I don't know what his source was. Maybe he didn't even have one. Maybe he just made it up. But he incorrectly claimed.
That's usually what we do, Chad.
Yeah, we just make it up. I've lived all my life on just making shit up.
We're going to delete this portion of the tape later.
Make it up.
Yeah, he incorrectly claimed that the lawyer, he said the lawyer, I can only imagine he was referring to me because by the time he did this little spiel on the radio, I had publicly come out that I was representing Dave. So he said the lawyer was there as if that was part of the setup. Right?
I just love it because they're just
I wonder
mad.
if he thinks I'm the one that was on the tape, recording it and narrating the tape.
Well, maybe you were in your car driving up.
But for the
Chad.
record, you were not there.
For the record, I was at home eating dinner.
You were not. Why
And my
would you even be
phone-
at the Webster School Board meeting? Your kids go to Irondequoit.
Yeah, my phone was
Why would you
literally-
go to a different school? Nobody wants to go to their own kids' stuff anyway. Why would you go to another district?
I've never been to a school board meeting in my life.
I have, but only to cover it for a news related whatever.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a setup, according to Bob Loons.
It's a setup, and you were there.
And I was there.
Which is all slander, I believe.
Well,
And I ought to know these things because
I mean, he didn't.
I've had plenty of letters.
He didn't use my name, which was probably, of course, very calculated.
But you are the lawyer.
on his part.
He doesn't
Yeah.
need to use your name. You know the law.
Can you say that again? I'm the what?
You're the lawyer.
The lawyer.
You are.
Yeah. He didn't call me the lawyer.
All
he
he has to do
he
is
said the lawyer was there.
he's alluding to, which is
Yeah.
as in as much as calling out your name.
I'll check with my lawyers to see if I have a claim against Mr. Lonsberry.
I'll represent you.
Yeah, that should work out well for you.
Chat, is that chat? Chat says my makeup looks good today. I have the Kardashian makeup team, behind the scenes doing
Who said
all
that?
the
Helen
frilling.
Keller?
She does drive a pink Cadillac.
Helen Keller with her eyes closed said your makeup looks good.
Oh, that's Linda. Oh, I thought it was Chat. So Linda says my makeup looks great. And again, I have the whole Kardashian team behind me. But the reason, speaking of newspapers, the New York Times, the reason I brought up earlier about crossword puzzles and different things like that is because, and again, like, the Democrat and Chronicle and all these newspapers that aren't doing their job of what they're supposed to do. And that's, obviously
Cover the news.
report the news. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's not brain surgery. You cover the news. New York Times last week bought this word game. I've never played it, but it's a word game. And you have 6 attempts to try to guess online
Kevin
what
Bacon?
this 5-letter word is.
Oh.
Right. Again, I've never played it. I'm a New York Times crossword puzzle person, and so I'm really not sure what Wordle is, but Wordle was created by this guy. He sold it to the New York Times, and the New York Times has it. And now, thankfully, Chad and Just Tom, the New York Times has decided that they're going to change up a few things about Wordly, which is a word game. And they have blocked and banned a number of words from the Wordly database because they believe that they're too
Are we going to get to guess what they are?
offensive and too obscure for you to maybe know what the word is. So I just want to say thank you for the New York Times.
How many words did they ban?
A number of them.
Oh.
They don't say how many. They just say the words that were banned were either offensive or obscure. And I just want to thank them because my little pea brain can't make that decision for myself. And I'm so glad that they're doing it for me, telling me what's obscure and irrelevant and offensive so that I don't have to waste my pretty little head thinking about some word that might be offensive. They tell me. In fact, they don't tell me. They just get
Is
rid
that
of
one
it.
of the words?
Is this
Chad?
one of the words?
They just don't even let you think it for yourself. They just get rid of it so that you don't have to think about if it's offensive or obscure.
Is that one of them?
I don't even know. We'll never know because the New York Times has just decided for us what words
How about that?
might be offensive or obscure. Ridiculous. So an obscure word might be like one of the best words ever, right?
Onomatopoeia.
Great word. Very
Huh?
obscure. You know what? You're not going to find, it's not a 5-letter word, but you're not going to find that
Trump.
in Wordly. That's it. Ugh, stuff like that makes me crazy. Makes me nuts. But anyway, that's I don't know if Redskin is one of them at all.
It's got to be that and the word white.
I have no idea. The other big story today, and I know you're going to have a take on this, is that the latest concealed carry news estimates that in 2021, Americans, 5.4 million of us, bought guns for the first time just last year. Why do you think that is?
I'm one of them.
For the first time ever in 2021, 5.4 million Americans. It's a lot of guns.
I love to hear that.
Why do you think that is?
Fear.
Violent crime?
Tyranny.
The inability to think that the government is going to take care of us, right?
I
mean,
bought-
Thinking the Second Amendment's going to be taken down.
Sure.
I bought my first one when my wife called me in April or March or April of, actually it was 2020.
Mhm.
And she told me she was at Wegmans and there was no more toilet paper.
What?
So that's when I knew it was time.
So time to buy a gun so you could get new toilet paper.
I'm not going without toilet paper.
This is a stick up. Give me your TP. Right? Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So 5.4 million Americans bought concealed carries last
Yeah,
year
bail
alone,
reform.
and a staggering 8.4 million purchased their first gun in 2020. That's according to the National Shooting Sports Foundation.
Wait, what were the two numbers?
5.4 million
For
bought
2021.
a
2021?
concealed carry, 5.4 million Americans bought guns for the first time in 2021, and 8.4 million
Oh.
purchased their first gun in 2020.
Wow.
So you have about 15 million people in 2 years, buying guns. And the reason is violent crime. Violent crime. These are legal gun owners who have taken matters into their own hands. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm not going to be driving a car down by the airport on what's that road?
Buell Road.
Gill Road.
Nice.
And I'm not going to have a couple of juveniles come up and try to take my car. And when I don't give it up, they're going to shoot me in the head.
Glad she called them juvenile.
And an old guy dies probably because he didn't have a gun with him.
Oh, we're talking about that situation.
Yeah, right? I
That-
mean,
that
I'm
occurred,
just giving
yeah.
an example. That
Yeah.
guy might not have died that day, like 8 months. It was 8 months ago. It was this past summer, right?
Yeah.
That guy right here in town might not have died had he had a gun on him.
Imagine if his gun permit, which of course this is 1,000% plausible that this could have been the case.
Mhm.
Imagine if his gun permit application was sitting pending in either the Monroe County Clerk's office or on a judge's bench,
Right.
waiting to be a judge's desk, waiting to be signed off on. Maybe it had been denied and he was filing the appeal paperwork, right? It could be up to a 2-year process by the time you apply for it, fill out the paperwork, get your fingerprints, get your photographs, the whole
Right.
9 yards.
It's a long process here in the
Background
state of New York.
investigation.
Right. It's a long
Yeah.
process.
Imagine
And-
if he would have had the gun, but for the ridiculous rules and laws on getting your permit for
Yeah.
one.
And
Or he called me as a credible witness.
Maybe what if that girl in Chinatown would have had a gun on her when that homeless criminal who's been arrested 8 times in the last year stalked her to her apartment and stabbed her 40 times. 40 times before she could get into her apartment. Maybe if she would have had a little gun in her purse, it might not have happened. I mean, I don't know. We're not psychic and we can't see the woulda, coulda, shoulda, but they go on and there's a list of all these circumstances where people are alive today. A couple of stories out of Chicago where people were carjacked but had a gun and were able to get themselves out of the situation.
Imagine if, I know we're going to get to the Sandy Hook story.
Yeah, right now.
Maybe I'm segueing for us.
You are.
Imagine if instead of that school district in Sandy Hook spending millions of dollars a year on who knows what,
Mhm.
right? on smart boards, on dumb boards, on lunch ladies, on whatever the case might be. Imagine had they hired an armed, uniformed, retired police officer to stand guard of the kids. Instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars on signs that say this is a gun-free zone
Right.
and programs training people to fear guns, right? Instead of respect them, that they're a tool, they're just a tool
Yeah.
for self-defense. Imagine had they protected their children in Sandy Hook with an armed police officer, retired police officer.
I can't disagree with that.
Imagine that. Imagine what would have happened on that fateful day.
Yeah, keep calm and carry a gun.
That cop would have been, that retired police officer would have been a hero.
Hero. He
Yep.
would have been a hero.
Or
Instead,
what
we're
about the
suing
other guy-
Remington.
What about the other guy that ran away? Wasn't that the incident where the?
Oh, that was in Florida.
That was in Florida.
Well, what are you going to do? That's human. That's just human behavior.
Oh, that was Parkland.
Yeah,
Parkland,
that's Florida.
Yep.
But and this is an elementary school. That was a high school. So there lies the difference. I don't know a lot of elementary schools that have security officers. I mean,
Well,
do they? I mean, I don't know.
They do, but they are essentially, well, they're not armed. Let's just put it that
right,
way.
okay.
Right. They wear fluorescent shirts and cargo
Well,
pants
suffice it to say,
and do nothing
at Sandy Hook,
but take a check.
there was no security.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously.
Certainly none that could have done
right.
anything about an armed shooter.
So the big news coming out of the gun industry today is that the families of victims killed in Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting reached an agreement with the Remington gun manufacturer for $73 million. Just point out, and they say that this gun right here, this gun that I do believe it's a Connecticut state trooper is holding. This is the gun, or a gun like it was used at Sandy Hook. This is a Bushmaster AR-15, similar to the gun that was used in the Sandy Hook shooting. The 9 families filed a lawsuit alleging that Remington's marketing made it so people would go out and buy this very dangerous gun, and that their marketing and how they marketed the Bushmaster AR-15 was directly responsible for the deaths of those children. This is a very dangerous precedent.
It's bizarre.
They have
world.
filed a lawsuit over the killings of these babies and 6 adults, 6 teachers and teachers' aides. So I think it was a total of 26 people, 20 kids and 6 adults. They filed a lawsuit against the gun maker, which is totally ludicrous to me, right?
There were movies about this,
Ludicrous to me.
right? It is. It's
Well, that's the only
ludicrous.
place where the money was, right?
So,
Yeah.
according to the law firm, Remington's 4 insurers have all agreed to pay the full amount of the coverage available, which is $73 million total. The gun maker, Remington Arms, filed for bankruptcy in 2020, and all of its assets were sold off. The other thing is, and I mentioned, the relatives say that Remington prioritized profit over public safety. What really happened here is not the gun's problem. This gun was legally purchased by the owner, who had a license for a number of weapons that she kept in her home so that her crazy, special needs, autistic, nutso son could grab one and go to the elementary school where I think he went to school. And I think maybe his mom worked there at one time as a secretary, and shot all those people. The gun didn't walk down the street. He just happened to pick the biggest gun in his mom's cabinet that wasn't locked. That's what happened. Imagine, you're driving a car down the road and you ram it into a minivan full of 10 people. and say you were driving a Ford Explorer. Are they going to go after the Ford Motor Company?
Well, it's a great
for,
point.
For your ridiculous driving that killed, 10 people in a minivan?
To really hone in on that analogy that you're trying to draw, we have to refer to, let's say, a Lamborghini or a Ferrari or a Corvette or any sort of speedster car, right?
Right.
So if we are going to allow lawsuits to proceed claiming negligence on behalf of a manufacturer because they marketed to a population,
Right.
And then so now your Corvette, right? Your Chevy.
Yep.
And obviously you're marketing your vehicles to individuals so that they'll buy it. It's a fast car. It's a sexy looking
0
car.
to 60. in so many
Right.
seconds.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. The whole 9 yards. So now you buy that car and it's sitting in your driveway and your son grabs the keys on a Friday night without you knowing, and he jumps in that car. And now the rest of your example, how in the hell, who in America with their right mind,
no one
would ever think for 1 second that Chevy should be responsible for the kid grabbing the keys and jumping in the Corvette and hitting the accelerator and blowing through a stop sign or a red light?
Yeah.
Or intentionally, right? To take it to its direct analogy, logical conclusion, he takes that Corvette and he drives it into Sandy Hook and kills 26 people.
Right. Yeah. Right.
How is that Corvette any different than the firearm at that point?
It's really,
it's a weapon.
It's no different.
As the bell rings,
absolutely,
and the kids come out of school in the parking lot.
It is not any different at all.
Are we going after Chevy? No, we're not, because this isn't about the logic and the law. This is about, we hate guns and we are going to get rid of guns at all costs.
Yeah.
Because that is literally the last thing, right? That's the thin veneer that it remains in America right now between freedom and communism. That thin veneer right now is only protected by the fact that, thank God, 13.8 million Americans went out and purchased their first firearm, because those are 13 million Americans that I know are going to show up.
Right.
When the time comes.
Right. When the going gets tough.
You thought January 6th was an insurrection? Come get me,
it's
FBI.
a problem.
So, Chad, is that the day when Jesus comes as well?
President Biden.
That's the rapture.
President Biden urged state and local lawmakers and lawyers and survivors of gun violence to pursue efforts to replicate the success of this case in Sandy Hook. And he says, and I quote President Biden, "Together, we can deliver a clear message to gun manufacturers and dealers that they must either change their business model to be part of the solution for the gun violence epidemic, or they will bear the financial cost."
And
because they're complicit.
This was a settlement, right? It wasn't a jury that decided.
Correct.
There was going to go to trial.
Okay.
They were going
lost, I assume.
They were going to go to trial.
But they got the max amount.
The jury selection in this case was set to begin in September, but the insurers just decided, we're going to settle $73 million.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
It's not their money.
I think had they gone to trial, I mean, I don't know. I don't think that the parents would have won. I say that going, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting point though, because, for other gun manufacturers, this isn't necessarily as bad as it looks. So had it gone to a jury and a jury ruled against Remington, now every gun manufacturer in the country is potentially going out of business.
Right.
Because they won't be able to obtain the insurance that they need to run their businesses.
Exactly.
Because the cost will go through the roof.
Oh, it would be
which
crazy.
Of course is the
which
very
is going to happen
goal.
Anyway.
That's the very goal.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden's statement. Can you read that statement again? About
yes, and then I want to play the lawyer.
Happen?
Yeah. Together, we can deliver a clear message to manufacturers and dealers. They must either change their business model to be part of the solution for the gun violence epidemic, or they will bear the financial cost of their complicity.
And of course, if there was an astute Democrat and Chronicle reporter there, obviously the next question would have been something like this: "Hey, Mr. President," right? And Biden would have looked around. "Hey, Mr. President."
He doesn't take questions, Chad.
Right. He doesn't take questions. Only about trees and what your favorite tree is in the city.
What do you propose, Mr. President, that the change to the model be? What should Remington or
Don't advertise their guns.
what is it that they're supposed to
in fact,
do?
don't sell your guns. Don't have your guns in a case for people to come and peruse. Don't come to our gun shop. Don't buy a gun. Don't think about buying a gun. Never think about buying a gun.
Are they
In fact, if you have guns, turn them in to your local law enforcement officials so that you never have guns.
Exactly.
And that you never own a gun again. That's what he wants you to do.
Or they can do the fine print that Big Pharma is required to do on all of their Viagra commercials. You know that this may kill you after 4 hours, right? If you're walking around and the barrel of your gun is still stiff after 4 hours, turn your gun in.
He wants no marketing. He wants no gun. And listen to what's going to happen. Only the criminals are going to have guns.
Yes, only this lunatic kid is going to have a gun.
The kid in Sandy Hook had access to mom's weapons.
Yeah, not a security guard.
Because she wasn't a responsible legal gun owner. She was a legal gun owner. And he took that gun and he went to that school. And because he was fucked up in the head, he shot all those babies and those teachers.
On a podcast?
Probably.
Honestly, there's no other way to look at it.
More training classes, right? Isn't that what's next?
Yeah,
but
we have that video, right?
Let's play the video of the attorney who represented the attorney and his firm who represented the 9 families.
He got paid.
Get your Kleenex out.
Yeah,
he got paid.
Here we go.
This case was never about damages in the sense of compensation.
They give the compensation
back. It was
back.
about damages in the sense of forcing change. It was about damages in the sense of realizing the goals of these families to do whatever they can to help prevent the next Sandy Hook. So it was really important that they get damages, and it was really important that they get a lot of damages, because it has to be something that gets the attention of this industry, and it's in the insurance and banking industries. But that was limited because of the bankruptcy. The total amount of insurance available to these families was $73 million. That's what the insurance companies paid. They were looking at the same evidence we were. You're really in a situation that's very unique when you experience something like somebody being told they're getting a certain amount of money, a lot of money, and having that hurt.
Here come the crocodile tears.
Having that hurt. These families, they would pay everything. They give it all back just for 1 minute.
Tears of joy.
That would be true justice.
For his 1/3.
I thought.
Yeah. So there he is. So
when he goes out and buys his Tesla.
So let me ask you just a question, because I divided 73 million by 9.
Well, no, you got to take 1/3 of that off the top first.
So how much is that lawyer and his firm getting of this $73 million? I mean, we've all seen the movie where Julia Roberts plays, Aaron Brockovich, and how much the firm got after all the PG&E plaintiffs were paid off.
Yeah, theoretically, he's getting 1/3 of 73.
It's amazing that guy's still single.
What? What's 1/3 of 73 million? Anyone?
26 and a half.
24.
So, okay. So after all the bills are paid, then every family might get $4.7 million. Right?
They can all kick in for a security guard.
Those 9 families.
As the lawyer said, these families will do whatever it takes. He didn't say these families want to get rid of guns in America. He said these families will do whatever it takes to make sure this doesn't happen again. Right? And just like these assholes have been telling us for 2 years that the best defense to COVID is the vaccine, the best defense to a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. End of story.
That's it.
End of story.
Bingo.
It's not advertising that guns are bad. It's not a disclaimer on a Remington poster at Dick's that says this gun can kill. That's not what is going to prevent the next mass shooting from a psychopath killer.
Of course not.
It's going to be somebody with a gun that puts a hole in that psychopath's head as he gets off of his bike 100%. Or his skateboard.
100%.
And then hold on real quick. Let me say this too. I wish we had this clip broken up into these 2 little pieces. This would be great. This would be a little comic theater to this. he starts off with saying specifically that this is not about damages. This is about change. And then 10 seconds later, he says, and they need damages and they need a lot of it.
Right. Right.
I mean, is this guy for real? Is this attorney? I'm glad you didn't call him a lawyer.
Because
he's no lawyer. He's nothing but a shill.
He's high on the money he's going to get.
He's high, all right.
He is high on the money, but you're right.
Each family gets 5.4 million.
Only a league 5.4 million.
More or less. I mean, there's some things that could cause that to change, but they're getting a lot of money. Let's face it.
I mean, the guy over on Buell Road 8 months ago that was
How much did he get?
He's dead.
Yeah,
he gets no money for a couple of teenagers who tried to carjack him.
How
because
much did the girl in New York City get?
She got bubkas.
Yeah,
she got nothing. But I will tell you, 2 incidents in Chicago of 2 individuals that they tried to carjack. They had a gun. They shot the people that were coming after them to steal their cars.
And that's who this lawyer with his propaganda there that he just spewed, that's who he, and according to, if we take him at his word, these 9 families or 8 families, that's who they want to prevent from being able to have a firearm when they need it.
And the
law-abiding citizen.
I don't believe this. I don't believe that 9 families said, we don't like the way Remington markets guns. Have any one of us in this room, have you ever, read or seen a commercial, or have you?
Well, that was a big deal years ago.
Have
with
you
cigarettes?
Have you seen marketing for guns ever?
Remember with cigarettes back in the day?
I remember that. Of course I remember that.
Yeah,
but that was
a big deal.
1970.
Yeah.
But you don't see any gun ads or gun marketing or gun, right?
They're probably not allowed in New York.
You were a Marlboro man kind of guy, weren't you, Kimberly?
My dad smoked Pall Malls.
Pall Malls.
And Camels. Pall Malls and Camels.
The
but
filters or unfilters? Is he a real man?
I don't even have any idea. I bought them sometimes for him, and he'd give me money to run up to the store. But yeah, I mean, I
smoked Winston's.
That's the thing. How many of us know anything about gun marketing?
I haven't seen any gun marketing since Charlton Heston.
Thank you, Austin.
Yeah.
Thank you, John.
Gun marketing, right?
And I'm gonna, lay my next paycheck down on this,
which is 0.
Right. That these 9 families in Sandy Hook don't know a lick about gun marketing from Remington. Didn't know what they were doing. I mean, I'd never heard of the Bushmaster AR-15. I would think that gun enthusiasts might, or hunters, or
I thought that
whatever.
was a porn site. Bushmasters.
Only you.
Jesus.
Only you. But yeah, the name of the show today is
Google it. I
Keep
bet you it
Calm and Carry a Gun. I just want to say we want to thank our sponsors. Of course, Taylor
Is
Heating.
Remington one of our sponsors?
Well, they would be.
Crossman.
But unfortunately, they filed for bankruptcy because they could see what was coming. We want to thank our sponsors, of course, Taylor Heating and Plumbing, Precision Lawn and Garden, and also Express Sealers. Please support our sponsors. Please call Taylor and have them come out and do a little furnace servicing for you, or buy a water heater, or go up to Precision Lawn and Garden in Webster and say, hey, I want to buy a snowblower or a lawnmower. They would love to help you out, and call Brian.
AR-15.
All right. I want to hit this real quick because you had mentioned earlier in the show that had Dave Callis, your client, fallen out of the chair wrong at the Board of Education meeting in Webster last week, a doctor pointed out that he could have really bumped his head pretty hard. And depending on how and where you hit your head, you could either just have a knot on your head or you could die.
Sure.
Right? I don't know if you guys remember this. It goes back a couple of years up in Hilton, where I used to live. There was
a
little bar that was right off of Manitou, and across the street there were some softball fields.
Yep.
And one Sunday morning there was a softball game going on, and 2 guys
Andrews
that's right.
Yeah.
Dan Andrews got into a fight with this other guy. And the other guy, as Dan Andrews was walking away off of the softball field, the guy, Sean.
Was that Gears Park?
Somebody. I don't know what park it was. It was Sean. Can't think of the guy's
Yeah, I don't
name.
remember his last name, but it
But
was
Dan
definitely
An-
Sean.
and they had been jawing each other the whole game. Dan Andrews walks away. The Sean, somebody will know his last name. One of our Patriots will know the guy's last name. Walked up behind him and punched him in the back of the head. But wherever he punched him,
It was the wrong spot.
it was the wrong spot, and the guy ended up dying.
He died. Yep.
He died.
It was tragic. He was in his 40s, had some kids.
Yeah, he did. And I think his mom, Sherry Andrews, is a realtor.
Real estate agent.
Is a realtor, right?
Yep.
And we had her on, and we had, of course, family members. And I think at some point we even talked to the guy, Sean. Oh, it's gonna kill me. But anyway, Bob Saget. Do we have the picture of Bob Saget? You guys know about the story, right? Bob
Sure.
Saget. There he is. Great comedian, Full House. Everyone loves Danny Tanner of Full House, right? On January 9th, after a comedy show in Florida, they found him dead in his hotel room. And they said that he hit his head, went to sleep, and must have, died from the head injury. It was more severe than he thought. And then his family, filed papers to make it so that no other information is released about the autopsy report. And I think a judge granted that today, if I'm not wrong. I think I have that somewhere. And I think the whole thing is very fishy, specifically since the family lawyered up and said, we want an injunction. We don't want any autopsy report or pictures or audio to come out about Bob Saget's death at all. And it comes to
I think Pfizer provided the funding for all of that.
Is that true?
I believe so.
And the reason is because from the autopsy report, the medical examiner said that Bob Saget, and I think how old was he? 67, maybe? Something like that.
No idea.
But 62, maybe? Hit his head and died from a brain bleed. But according to the medical examiner, it is as if he had been hit in the head with a baseball bat, that his injuries were so severe that it was if he had been beaten with a baseball bat.
That's the medical examiner's words?
That is correct.
Wow.
And the family has filed an injunction, that they don't want any of the details surrounding the cause of his death to be released.
Vaccine's worse than I thought.
Here's the thing.
Right.
He had multiple, not one skull fracture, multiple skull. These are all the things that the autopsy report.
I'm blind.
If you look at, can you blow that up a little bit and go down? Austin, thank you. So abrasion of the posterior scalp,
just read it to
subdermal
me.
hematoma. He had and I'm just looking at all these, a linear fraction of the base skull, bilateral partial. I mean, that whole list of things. Show the picture of where all of Bob Saget's injuries were.
That F is dandruff.
These were the autopsy reports that were released, and the family had a fit yesterday, and that's why they filed an injunction. Look at all the injuries.
Wow.
Wow.
He hit his head? Which part of his head? Because all of these parts pointed out were injured.
I didn't know there was that many boosters by now.
all of those areas on his head from the back to the front were part of the injury and part of the autopsy report.
Yeah, something obviously.
Was that woman from Epstein's Island there that night?
I don't
And they haven't ruled this a possible homicide.
They
yet?
ruled out foul play,
Really?
and they're certain that it was a blow to his head that killed him. But the blow to the head, according to the medical examiner, or was akin to someone taking a baseball bat to his head.
So I guess the blow to the head could have caused those other, various injuries within the brain. I mean, did it like a domino effect?
I mean,
I don't know.
he had black eyes.
Maybe it's just a klutz and he fell and walked into things.
His eyes were black, and I don't know if that's like a post-mortem thing that happens when you hit your head and die, if your eyes blacken automatically. But I don't
I know it's a shocker,
I
but I
think
fall and
that's-
hit my head all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, so maybe he's just hits things with
So
his head.
why do you think the family filed a lawsuit to block the release of photos from the hotel room?
Well,
Privacy.
Christina Higley just answered your question.
His family knows exactly who killed him or why he was killed.
Right,
Yeah,
there you
I don't.
go.
Has
See, that's-
anyone? Has any,
Bingo.
well, you know what? I think OJ was spotted at the Super Bowl with one glove on.
Yeah,
Right.
No,
they said that
he had his mask on though.
and other medical experts say yes, they agree that the amount of damage he had to his head is consistent with being hit with a baseball bat or falling as far as 30 feet.
Wow.
You don't hit your head on a headboard and come out with those injuries, right? I think something really stinks about this whole story, but they say that no one entered his room according to the room key thing, and no one exited until he was found the next day. I just thought that was interesting. I just think that's like a forensic file
Maybe
thing.
they climbed through the window like
I think it
Mission
was-
Impossible.
I think it was Professor Plum
With
with the candlestick
You think so?
in the library.
Okay, all right.
Is that not the best game of all time?
Well,
Chad, the correct answer would have been revolver.
can I just say something to you? I had a next door neighbor, and she loved to play that all the time. I
love
never
that.
really,
Love
I never
Clue.
liked
Clue
Clue.
was a great game.
Eh.
That's such a good
I was
game.
more of a Life or a Trouble. Is that the one that has a little?
Wait,
Shocker,
hold on a
Shocker
second.
was
Is
trouble.
Is that the same game?
It's got the
Life in trouble. Shocker.
Trouble, Monopoly. I could,
Right.
I could never get Park Place or Boardwalk.
Yeah, St. James Place was my
Well,
best.
So I wanted
My
to bring
best
that
bet.
up to you guys because I thought it was, and then when the family files the injunction, I just go, something's not right here.
That
you know,
doesn't. Yeah, that doesn't bother me as much.
Medical
because-
experts are saying that it looks like he was hit with a baseball bat, and the medical examiner's autopsy report comes out with all of those injuries. Something's not right.
He's a klutz.
No, not even on his worst day.
Colonel Mustard
Colonel Mustard.
with the saw in the garage.
Really? I don't know
I
any
don't
of
know.
that.
That
Yeah.
Mrs. White, she's always a little
Mrs.
sketchy.
White,
You know
yeah.
what? Why you got to be racist? All right, that is going to do it for Kimberly's Revolution, of course, in today's show. And we hope you guys go on YouTube and join the We the People Podcast Network. We hope you go there. We hope you check everything out. And I guess the big news, the breaking news today, in regard to Dave Callis, who was the Webster parent that was assaulted at the school board meeting, is that what, Chad? That the papers have been filed?
Yeah, an arrest appears to be imminent.
All right. So that is the big news coming today from Kimberly's Revolution.
If
We hope-
anyone sees a white Ford Bronco on 590 tonight,
it's a security officer from Webster.
look out.
We hope that you guys watch us on YouTube and give us a like. Apple Podcasts is where we're on. Austin, are we on all the platforms?
Every
I mean, if there's
podcast
a
you can
platform
think
to
of.
be on, are
Just
we
yes.
on it?
Are we in the
Yes,
Democrat and Chronicle?
of course.
Okay. Well, I don't think we're on the Democrat and Chronicle platform,
No,
nor
that's
will
true.
we ever be.
We are on iHeart.
Are we?
Yeah.
Those suckers better be paying me some money.
Couple-
Are we seriously?
Couple pennies.
I'm getting no money. I was fired with no money.
Oh, I was
They
supposed to give these to you.
Yeah.
Well, pennies.
Here's your 2
Austin's
cents.
being funny. Here's my 2 cents. All right. Keep calm and carry a gun is the name of today's show. We appreciate our sponsors, Taylor Heating and Cooling, of course, Express Sealers and Precision Lawn and Garden. Are you doing a show? Got freedom the rest of the week? No, maybe if you feel like it.
Friday
If
afternoon.
you can get away from the national, media blitz.
We'll see.
Okay. All right. We'll be back
that
next
usually
Tuesday.
means no when your
with-
father says we'll see.
With Kimberly's Revel. I know. Isn't that always the case?
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll
to know.
see.
All right. That's going to do it for us. We appreciate all the Patriots watching. Tell your friends. Give us a like. Go on YouTube. Give us a like. And as always,
See you next Tuesday. God bless. Be kind to others.
From attic to basement, we're here for you. It's quality service in all we do. Call Taylor. 500